It's exactly 4 p.m. here in the capital. Thank you so much for joining us on News Now, where we tell you all the stories that are making headlines right now. And it starts now with the highlights.
The highlights. Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen stands firm on using the Prevention of Terrorism Act against looters and vandals in protests. Critics call it an overreach. He calls it enforcement. Also, Nakuru Girls High School shuts down indefinitely after students boycott end-of-term exams, deepening concerns over rising unrest in schools. And DCP officials demand the arrest of Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah and a public apology over remarks allegedly aimed at Mrs. Dorcas Rigathi.
Thank you for joining us on this live broadcast. Once again, my name is Hibaq Said. Now, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has defended the government's decision to charge notable individuals with terrorism-related offenses, stating that their actions fall within the parameters defined by anti-terrorism laws. Murkomen criticized the Law Society of Kenya for what he said was siding with criminal elements, warning that their stance risks undermining ongoing police investigations. He has, however, reiterated that the government's commitment to arrest and prosecute key influential features allegedly involved in financing the June 25th and Sabasaba protests, which resulted in widespread destruction of property across the country.
All those people are properly defined in the Prevention of Terrorism Act of the Republic of Kenya. They are defined to be terrorists because they have committed acts of terror. And if we find them attempt to do so, even in this city, we are going to charge them for what it is. I want to tell the Law Society of Kenya not to always be on the side of the criminals. They must be on the side of Kenyans. They must be on the side of preventing crimes in this county, in this region, and the Republic. Because there is no point for the Law Society of Kenya to spend a lot of energy to try to reduce the bail terms for suspected criminals who have properly been arrested and located in the scene.
Now, a political firestorm is brewing around National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah over remarks he made about Pastor Dorcas Rigathi in Murang'a Democratic. For this, Citizens Party officials have demanded a public apology and immediate legal action. Party officials condemned Ichung'wah's comments, calling them a personal attack on Pastor Dorcas, the wife of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Mwangi went further, demanding Ichung'wah's arrest, accusing him of launching a smear campaign against women in leadership.
Tukiongea inasemekana tunaongea vibaya. Sisi tumesimama kidete bila woga na tunasema Kimani tumekupe 48 hours from today. Murang'a DCP part of fraternity and the leaders you are seeing here. We have given you ultimatum of 48 hours. If you don't withdraw, kama utatoa hiyo matamshi, sisi tutakupeleka kotini.
Kimani Ichung'wah, mahali popote ulipo, tunaomba uombe msamaha kwa Dorcas Rigathi. Tumekuwa tukiona wamama wakikamatwa bila makosa yoyote. Tunakemea hiyo jambo kama wamama. Tunasema haifai na wamama tuache kuwekwa uoga.
Kwa sababu Mama Dorcas ni mchungaji ule ambaye amepakwa mafuta, amechaguliwa katika dini, na pia tunajua vile huyo mama ametusaidia. Kama huyo mama ndiye alikuwa anaongoza ile kampeni ya boy child.
Wale wako serikalini wenye wanasikiza wanaume wakitusi wanawake ama wanawake wanatusi wanaume, ningeomba kwa heshima muingilie hiyo maneno, muache kunyamaza, mseme kitu kama ni
All right, elsewhere, relief and celebration in Kisumu after several activists who were arrested during the June 25th protests were acquitted by the courts. Among them, well-known activist Boniface Akach, who now says he's taking the fight back to the government. Supporters packed the Kisumu City Court as activist Boniface Akach faced charges of inciting violence during anti-government protests. But in a major victory for the protest movement, the court found Akach and others not guilty, citing lack of evidence. Outside the courtroom, Akach accused the state of using force to silence dissent and vowed to sue the government for alleged mistreatment while in police custody. Fellow activists condemned what they called a crackdown of free expression, promising to continue demanding accountability from national leaders.
I want to appreciate the Lady Justice Nyigei for ensuring that her court has not been used to victimize or to suppress the kind of dissent that we are trying to express. I am going to take action. I am going to make sure that I also get my justice, because I was not only abducted, I was held incommunicado, I was illegally detained, I was tortured, and I was again maliciously prosecuted. So I'm going to consult my lawyers. And the police were alleging that during the 23rd protest of July last year, I was using stones to block the road. I was inciting members of the public to throw stones at them, that I even eventually assaulted police officers. Fortunately, after their very trumped up charges and their very weak prosecution, they have not been able to prove to court that I did any of those crimes.
All right. Now, Nakuru Girls High School has been closed indefinitely after students refused to sit for their mock exams. According to the school's Principal Rose Menjo, all students have been released to go home. This comes after a group of students stormed the examination storage room, vandalizing the exam papers along with other school property. And former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is keeping up his criticism of President William Ruto while on a 2-month tour of the United States. Speaking to Kenyan diaspora communities, Gachagua has accused the government of failing to protect Gen Z protesters and violating citizen rights. In Massachusetts, during a dinner with clergy and community leaders, Gachagua launched a scathing attack on the Ruto administration, accusing it of using lethal force against peaceful protesters. He urged faith leaders to support his DCP party, which he claims champions the interest of ordinary Kenyans. The former deputy president has now opened 2 satellite DCP offices in the US, one in Washington, D.C., and the other in Boston, as he pushes to grow his base abroad.
Yeah, he said it's poor parenting. William Ruto, please, can you make up your mind? What ails your country? You are president. You have the necessary facilities at your disposal to give you information. Everybody in Kenya knows there's a problem. Instead of listening to the agencies, the issues they are raising, abductions, extrajudicial killings, corruption,
Now, the Commission for University Education is calling on institutions of higher learning to raise their game. Now, CEO Mike Kuria says universities must create competitive programs to attract both local and international students, especially as government funding continues to shrink. Speaking at St. Paul's University in Limuru, Kiambu County, CEO Mike Kuria challenged universities to be more financially self-reliant. He urged institutions to invest in infrastructure and innovative programs that can generate income and reduce dependence on state funding. Now, Kuria emphasized that universities hold the key to a better, more progressive society.
In the education sector, they could look many of them coming at the same time. Probably that's just a reflection of the rapid changes that are taking place in our society. We have to be in tandem with them. Of course, the way we change and the way we implement those changes can affect ultimately where we end up. And so for us, I think it's just to make sure that the changes are carefully taken through, carefully interpreted, and carefully implemented in at the various sectors, right from the below sections to the middle section to the university section. The more resources that are in the universities, the better the infrastructure is going to be there. But the funding usually will come from other organizations. We don't do the funding ourselves, as we do more of regulation of the quality. But as you can imagine, what we require universities to do, we go to university, we tell them you must hire more staff members, you must build more infrastructure, you must adopt those technologies.
Let's get sporty. The construction of the Talanta Sports City Stadium is set to gain momentum following a major policy shift by President William Ruto. The head of state has endorsed market-based financing as a key driver for completing flagship projects like the stadium expected to host the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. President Ruto made the remarks during a bell-ringing ceremony at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, marking the listing of the Lindsay Asset Tract Security. He emphasized that mobilizing domestic capital through market instruments can fast-track critical national projects, among them the 60,000-seater Talanta Sports City in Nairobi.
The proceeds from this listing will directly support the construction of the Talanta Sports City Stadium, a compelling example of how financial markets can accelerate national transformation. The Talanta Sports City marks Kenya's first large-scale, purpose-built international stadium project in more than 40 years. The last comparable undertaking was the construction of Moi International Sports Center Kasarani, completed in 1987, ahead of the All Africa Games.
Now, the 104th Kenya Amateur Match Play Championship tees off from tomorrow, Thursday to Sunday at Sigona Golf Club. The tournament has attracted 78 golfers from Kenya, Rwanda, South Africa, Zambia, Mauritius, Ethiopia, and Austria. The local contingent comprises Michael Karanga, John Lejirma, Elvis Muigai, Ibil Omolo, and Adel Balala. The juniors will be led by Sevi Soni, Chris Shah, and Kevin Ayen. Now, the second leg of the three-round Kenya Swing Series after the Kabete Open and the Kenya Amateur Stroke Play Championship will be happening in the city. All right, that concludes our bulletin this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining News Now. These stories and many more will be updated in our subsequent bulletins at 7 and 9 p.m. My name is Hibaq Said. Have yourselves a very lovely afternoon.